Hello, think we might be live. Feel free to say hello in the chat if you're here and you're waiting. Welcome to all those that are already here. Hope we're keeping well. I'm just going to check the messages to see that we are live. That looks good. Excellent. Great. So we're going to have a kind of intro session today looking at some techniques for revision, start of the academic year, and we'll kind of go from there. As I said, feel free to say hello. Any questions as we go, let me know, and that would be brilliant. So welcome to everyone watching. Feel free to say hi in the chat. I can see that there's been some engagement already, some questions, the uncertainty around exams this year. Hi, welcome. Excellent. I hope we're all doing okay. I know it's been a really, really strange year. Welcome, everyone. It's lovely to see people saying hello. We're going to talk through some general points about year 12 and 13, and I'll introduce myself and what SnapRevise does, and hopefully we'll go from there. But as I said, at any point, feel free to ask any questions in the chat, and any comments would be great. That's brilliant. Right, I'm going to share my screen with you all now. So if you can keep me updated about what you can see, that'd be good. I'm just going to share this with you now. And hopefully you can see the PowerPoint we've put together appearing on the screen. So excellent. Right, welcome to anyone that's just joined. And obviously lots of questions are going to be coming in about the exams this year, and obviously that's what we're targeting and what we're looking at, because there has been obviously a major difference with the last academic year and the way things were dealt with. So we'll address some of those questions as we go, but I do appreciate those coming through in the chat, and I can see those as you ask them, so I'll do my best to answer what we can today. But that's brilliant. So what I'm going to do is just introduce myself to start with. So I'm Max. I'm head of maths at SnapRevise. I did a bachelor's degree in maths a few years ago now, and I've been teaching A-level maths and GCSE and below for the last sort of 4 or 5 years now. And we're today going to be looking at some key skills for year 12 and 13, things you should be thinking about in light of things that have happened, and just in general as well, some techniques for revision, and also kind of the setup of SnapRevise and what we're offering over the course of your A-levels and GCSE studies. So I can see questions about the exams. I mean, as you're all aware, probably better than anyone else, it is a constant case of checking updates with the news. Things are changing all the time. But hopefully the exams are going to run, and your year group, those that are sitting exams next year, will be a little bit more of a smooth process than students experienced this year. So we're going to carry on and look at some techniques and some advice. Welcome to anyone else that's just joined. And as I said, I'm Max, and I'm going to give you some information about your courses of study. So here we go. Today, the other thing to just bear in mind, we're going to be giving away a free account. So if you follow us on Instagram and share a picture of the web class on your story and tag SnapRevise, then this is an opportunity to get a free account for one person for the platform we offer. So that's something that's worth staying tuned and doing if you can. That'd be brilliant. We're also going to give away a coupon code for all, so that would be worth staying tuned until the end for. And it's a 14-day free trial, so you can see kind of what we have to offer and how we can support you with your studies. So let's get going. So any questions, do let me know in the chat. What we're kind of working towards in general, just overall over the course of the next year or 2 years, many of you are probably thinking about universities now. So if you're in year 13, you're probably well into the process of UCAS and applying. And strangely, with everything that's gone on, the deadlines haven't really been delayed for things like your applications. So this is, you know, the process is very much the same as we would normally run through. For year 12s, you might be a little bit undecided about what you're doing. And this is a really important and crucial year for kind of making up your mind about if you want to go to university, if you perhaps want to take a gap year. Some people volunteer and travel, Obviously, in light of things that have happened this year, plans might change, but it's hopefully been a really good time for people to reassess and regroup about what they want to do over the next couple of years. So I'm going to explain the platform a little later on. I have seen some of the questions coming through and the different things we have to offer. So I will do that shortly. Just to start with, though, as I said, we're looking at the kind of key things we're working towards. And ultimately, you might not know what career you're hoping to carve out for yourself. That might be something that's going to change a lot over the next couple of years. But in general, I think without a doubt these days, people are going to need to do some further study beyond A-levels. So whether it's career specific, whether it's a degree, in the kind of day and age we live in, there is this need to study further to really kind of carve the path out that you want. And even if you don't know the job you're looking for at the moment, these are kind of crucial years. So for those that are in year 10 and 11, it's a very sort of similar process with the GCSEs in that obviously you're doing a lot more subjects, but we're kind of narrowing down to the things we like and the things we really kind of want to pursue. And this is all crucial time for A-levels and for GCSEs. So any questions about either, feel free to ask those in the chat. In general, when you look at a career and you look at an employer, they don't always look at, specifically your A-level grades. It's very much a stepping stone. They will ask for GCSE and A-level results, but if it's an undergraduate-based program, a job that's based on having a degree, your A-levels and your GCSEs are important, but they are, as I said, very much a stepping stone. So what we're going to do is we'll have a little talk about what we're going to be doing over the next course of the A-levels and the GCSEs. So if I just move this on. The way A-levels works, there was a big change in A-levels in 2017. And interestingly, the changes to the GCSEs and A-levels have kind of caused some issues recently in terms of being very much linear in fashion. So everything being at the end. And obviously this year that caused major problems. So what we've got to bear in mind is that most of the courses are still designed to be in a linear fashion. And some people have asked in the chat, so what's happening with the exams? Are they going to reduce the content? Because obviously there is 2 years worth of content all examined at the end. So what we're looking at is we're looking at the different setups. So different subjects have different kind of layouts to their course, but the thing in general is that all the exams are at the end. So there are some subjects that involve coursework, and that is generally assessed throughout the year by the teacher. The algorithm issue this year, I think, is a kind of blip. That's something that was used to deal with the situation of lockdown. But in general, if you choose a subject that has coursework, that is something that will take place over the year. Otherwise, all the exams are taken at the end of year 13. The other thing to remember is what we'll need to kind of be aware of is that the one challenge with A-level is recalling all the information. There's a huge breadth of information in the A-level courses, and it is a massive jump from GCSE to A-level. I'm sorry to hear people are stressed out. I've anticipated that this is going to be quite full on, so there'll be some good advice coming out. And I feel for everyone in education at the moment, because obviously it's quite a changing time, but there's a lot of good resources out there to help you, and that's what we're going to look at today. So recalling information is one thing, but actually the key skill we're building in A-level is being able to problem solve and being able to deal with different challenges. So I'm going to talk about our platform and what we have to offer, and also some of the other things you can be doing to help you work forward and achieve highly in your A-levels. A few more points is that we're also testing that you're able to analyze information and perform calculations and not just learn stuff by heart. So there's a lot of skills to A-level, and it's actually kind of about how you approach it and your general kind of understanding and appreciation for the subjects. Essentially narrowing down to maybe 3 or 4 A-levels is great in a way, because you are now becoming able to choose the topics and things you'd like to pursue as a career. However, it is also worth realizing that a lot of the content you cover in the A-levels are essentially prerequisites for degree courses. And that's why there is a big jump. So your GCSE material you've been covering perhaps since year 7, and it's just kind of built and built. Whereas at A-level, you are really taking ownership of what you're learning. And so in that sense, it's quite exciting and a really good opportunity for you to really hone in on the subjects that you like, which is great. So I am keeping an eye on the chat as well, and there's some great questions coming in. So what we're going to look at is kind of some advice on what we need to do. A big bit of advice I could offer for you is obviously for subjects like my own, for maths, you'll know that the main advice is just do lots and lots of practice, plenty of practice. Another kind of hint that I would use that I didn't perhaps know at the time of my A-levels was not just using mark schemes and past papers to help you, but also things like examiners' reports. They often highlight key issues that students have made nationally and errors they've made with the questions. So examiners' reports are brilliant as well, and definitely worth having a look over. I think that's something a lot of students shy away from or think that won't be too useful for me. So not just practice papers and mark schemes, but also looking at the feedback and looking at where other people go wrong. That's kind of how you're going to stand yourself apart. Right, excellent. So obviously there is this element of pressure. I know that students are finding that year 11 and year 13 are the big years. They're the years that are kind of being a part of a linear course. They're the ones that count. But actually, I think we've got to remember that the information you're taking in and the study that you're doing is a 2-year course. It is over 2 years. And so how you use your time is really crucial. And also the methods you employ. So we're going to look at some advice for different techniques that you can use to really be successful over the course of your A-levels. Okay, so let's have a little look. So in order to give yourself the best chance of getting a really high grade in your subjects, we need to kind of be really careful with allowing ourselves to use a variety of sources. So certainly for maths, reading a textbook doesn't help. As we've said, it's the practice, but using a breadth of resources is crucial. So going online, obviously there's big websites that we go to for past papers and they're great. But the thing to remember here is that a lot of these websites are still using old A-level materials. So for maths, you might think, okay, I'll go on this website. It's got all the papers back to 2000 or 2001, and it's grouped in accordance to modules that used to exist. As I said, the A-levels were repackaged in 2017, and they have changed a fair bit. So the content has been divided up differently. So do be careful with the sources you use online. SnapRevise have put together the resources in an up-to-date, exam board specific, tailored fashion. So they are right up to date with the new A-levels for all the different exam boards and are really targeted to specific points that examiners have said they're looking for. And it's resources like that that you need to look for. There's plenty of videos online. There's plenty of sites that can get you practice material. And that is all brilliant. That is something you should be doing. But also doing this critically is really important. So that this is kind of my main advice, is not just sticking to one site, resource, platform that you love, but really being open-minded and saying, okay, I learned well from that for this kind of task or for this subject, but I might need to branch out and try some different materials in order to really expand my knowledge and just build a bit of confidence in the subject. And I hope that's kind of clear and making sense, but it is a real important time for taking ownership over your subjects and how you approach them. And you'll know, being students yourselves, the position you found yourself in this year particularly has caused you to have to take an active role in searching and finding the content yourself. So that's kind of the key point. Using a variety of sources is really important. And I know a lot of you will have had to have done that. You were kind of forced into that situation this year. But there are other kind of points here as well. So creating your own revision materials. I used to find this really useful. For example, you'd make flashcards, or you'd go through questions and you'd write out key information. But actually talking to people really helps. So obviously the way that this happened over the last few months has been quite different, but taking the opportunity to speak to your teacher, speak to your friends about the content you're covering, particularly any new material that you're picking up, and perhaps a SnapRevise tutor, anyone that you can ask that will know the subject content really well, speaking to them directly and creating revision materials based on how you've learned and what you've taken in. I think sometimes a key point is someone will say something in one very clear and specific way, and it makes it click for you. And you almost feel like, I just need to write down what they said and I'll remember that perfectly. I'll understand it and it'll all come back to me. And it's things like that, taking ownership over how you've revised and what you've learned is brilliant. And this does apply to GCSE as well. I think, as I've said, there's a significant difference in the breadth that you cover at A level, but in terms of the key skills and the way you prepare for exams, this is a kind of transferable idea for GCSEs and A levels. So creating your own revision materials is really powerful. Memory tricks, I'm sure you've seen this before, creating mnemonics, creating kind of little ways in your head to remember formulae, quotes, whatever it is, and taking the information in that way is brilliant. You've got to make this work for you. So just really taking ownership over the work is the thing I'm prompting and pushing here. Practicing frequently, I think this is a big one. It's really easy to feel confident with something and think, I'll leave that for ages now. So little and often is probably a nice approach, kind of snappy, quick revision, and it kind of boosts your confidence as well. So that's really important, that we don't just kind of get too bogged down. It's really easy to feel stressed out and think there's so much to learn and I've got all this time, but it is ticking away quickly. I think the best thing you can do is kind of break things down into manageable bite-sized chunks. And then if you've had enough, be honest with yourself, move on and do a different subject, do something else, have a break. But just keeping things frequent, little and often, I think is a brilliant bit of advice. And then obviously the past papers and exam style questions are crucial. So you may know your subject inside out and you might think, I'm really confident with this subject, but actually exam technique is a very different skill. So the people that are maybe perhaps the best at the subject might have a real flair for it, but don't really know how to approach the exams, don't know what examiners are looking for. And as I've said, using the mark schemes and reading the examiners' reports are perfect for understanding where other people go wrong and what you might be susceptible to doing wrong. So I think that's a really important bit of advice there. Welcome to anyone just joining. It's lovely to see so many comments and messages in the chat. And as I said, I'll try to answer as many of these as we go. So some general advice on how we should prepare there. Okay, so on the whole, this one might sound obvious, kind of keeping well and keeping your mental well-being healthy and strong is obviously really important, but particularly at the kind of times we're finding ourselves in, it's really easy to feel the pressure in any given year as a student, but actually at the moment it's been quite a change in the way people are working and the way you're having to be quite independent as learners. So in terms of keeping healthy and keeping a good mindset, I think this is the biggest thing we've got to push here, because there is uncertainty, and you'll probably know from asking your own teachers at school what's going on with the exams, what's happening this year, is there going to be content scrapped, and so on. And in all honesty, there are a lot of questions that are still unanswered for people in education. It's not come through clearly from government and so on. But the actual general gist is the courses are running and the exams will be at the end. And the best thing you can do is put yourself in the best position in comparison to the sort of national cohort. And the way to do that really is to stay calm, keep working hard, and actually realizing that the best way to prepare is just keep the focus on the course and make yourself stand out against those you're competing with. You can only control your own work and what you're doing. And so it's not worth worrying about the variables that aren't in your control. So we're going to, some bits of advice for this. I mean, having gone through your GCSEs or mock exams and stuff before lower down the school, you may have a really good approach to this already. But A-levels are kind of a different challenge, and as are GCSEs. So making a study routine is really important, some sort of schedule that's going to help you get through. And you've got to make this work for you. I know that when you talk to other students that say, I'm doing 5 hours every day on this subject, and that maybe doesn't work for everyone. And it's also not necessarily true what people are telling you they're doing. Don't worry about what others are doing, worry about yourself and make what you're doing and how you're doing it work for you. This is really, really crucial. And it's hard, it's a real challenge. And you've probably seen from family and those around you that have been at home working a lot this year. This is a challenge for anyone. If this is something you can get to grips with early on, it's a huge life skill. Being able to manage your time professionally and maturely is something that will see you through the rest of your life. It's not just about now. So this is getting into these patterns and challenging it and asking, how would you do this? Asking your friends, would you do it this way? Asking your parents, your teachers. This is really good. Procrastination is something we're all susceptible to. It's so easy to get distracted. And I think the way you create your routine and schedule is what's vital. So making it manageable, again, putting it into chunks that don't take your whole evening up, but in ways that you know you're going to be able to cope with. Right, that'll be enough, and I can put it aside, and then I can kind of feel confident that I've done enough work there. It's that sort of thing. And that's brilliant. I mean, something I did using calendars, you'd be surprised, like you don't need to do a whole big dear diary today. I'm going to just a calendar, really simple calendar of how you want to use your time. Block days out for birthdays, or this day I am going to just chill out, enjoy myself and not do any work. But actually having kind of targets of, this is my day, I'm really going to focus on maths or history or whatever it is. Or I'm going to do a little bit of this afternoon. This is a really, really crucial skill, that a simple calendar, a 1 month calendar, if you take A4 print out of a calendar and you start filling in little things, maybe fill in the fun stuff first. Maybe go, okay, I need that day because it's someone's birth, my cousin's birthday, and I need that time because I know I'm always tired on a Monday once I go back to school. So I'm going to chill out on those evenings, and fill in the bits that you're happy filling in first, and then be kind of a bit more brutally honest with yourself. Where do I need to get this work done? And it's doable. So yeah, and I'm just keeping up with the chat there as well. Thanks for all the comments and messages coming in, guys. We're just going through some kind of techniques to keep us studying, and then just try and stick to it as honestly and as best you can. And it's very easy to fall out of a routine and think it's impossible to go back to, but it's a working kind of process that you can kind of go, well, maybe I need to change that, maybe I was trying to do too much. So yeah, the positive vibes, that's what we need. Excellent. And yeah, and the thing I can't stress enough, because this is an enormous issue, this is something that has happened always during exam time, students comparing themselves to each other and saying, well, that person's saying they're working all these hours, and not everyone's routine works. There's no one routine. You know yourself the best. You know honestly how much you can do without feeling too overwhelmed. So picking a routine that works for you is really important. And varying it a bit. So changing the styles and the resources you use and the way you approach information is really, really important. So in general, taking the breaks are crucial as well. And also learning that you are going to make mistakes over the next couple of years. So if you're in your A-levels, it is a really big, important, stressy time, not just for your school and academic side of life, but also, you know, you might be learning to drive. There's loads of challenges you'll be faced with, the thought of university and what's next. But actually, it's a really exciting time. And this sounds really strange, and I'm not encouraging this, but it is a good time as well to have some small failings, for things to go wrong and learn to deal with them, because that can be a big knock for a lot of people. But actually, I like to think of when you do a mock exam and it goes not so well, or an exam or a homework that doesn't sort of count necessarily towards anything, and you make mistakes, think of it as getting the bad stuff out the way. Think of it as an opportunity to say, well, I've done that wrong, but I'm not going to do that when it counts. And really try and spin the positives around, because I think this is something a lot of students struggle with, is accepting that it is going to go wrong at time to time, but that's not the worst thing. You can learn from that, and that is actually what's going to be memorable. That's what's going to make you strive on and do better in your next exam. So absolutely don't panic if you have those small failings and you learn from it. The A-levels is not the be all and end all. It's a stepping stone, as I've said before. So please don't overwhelm yourself at any point. Everybody has these hiccups and these small mistakes during these couple of years. And if you can accept that early on and know it's going to be a challenge, and just keep your routines, tweak them, amend them, and make them work for you, it can be a real success, and a real kind of the long-term benefits are incredible. So that's a really important point there. Okay, excellent. And asking and getting the help and support when you need it. So as I said, asking your teachers, asking your peers, asking maybe a relative that really knows their stuff on whatever it is you're studying, asking a SnapRevise tutor if you're on our platform and you're using our site. We have drop-ins and loads going on that I'll explain later. But asking for the support and seeking out the support as and when you need it. Don't let things go. So having that kind of proactive approach to your studies is crucial. Excellent. Right. So just general preparation for the future. Let's have a little look. So improving your chances of getting a job and getting into university you want is basically asking yourself the question, where do I see myself in 5 years' time? Because things like that, they are common interview questions, like the real basic ones that we don't, ask each other necessarily. You don't ask your friends all the time. But thinking about those common questions of what would I explain to someone is my goal? Where would I like to be? And really thinking about this sort of stuff is handy for preparation and writing applications, and even allowing you to think about what universities you'd like to apply for or jobs, and thinking, where do I see myself? What do I enjoy? And what do I still want to be doing? So excellent. And obviously there's, such a great mix of subjects people are doing, a real array of stuff, that this is a really exciting opportunity to think, where am I going with this? I can carve out my own kind of niche in the world, in the currently fast changing world, and pick the things I enjoy and run with that. And these kind of questions are really useful. And we've got to remember that this is a really exciting period of time as well. The exam stress is one thing, but actually what you're learning and what it's all for is what you should be thinking about and be driven by. And thinking about what makes you unique, thinking about what can you do, what online events could you attend, what real events could you attend, hopefully, what kind of stuff have you read or looked into, what makes you different, what other things could you be doing or could you be applying for? And these sort of things are not things you should be stressing about, but just exciting opportunities that allow you to kind of broaden your horizons and think outside the box. Excellent. So getting work experience and building your CV. As you'll probably know, once you apply for jobs and UCAS and any applications in the near future, you'll need all the academic stuff on there. You'll need the qualifications you've got when you sat them and all that sort of stuff. But actually what makes you different and what have you done, what's unique, the personal statement, the personal side of it is what will sell you to an employer or to a university. And also, what other things have you done that are different? Have you gone in and done work experience with, maybe it's with a relative that's in the industry you're looking at going into, or a family friend, or you've got yourself a part-time job, or you've volunteered, all that sort of stuff that you might not think is a big deal because you just do it and you've always enjoyed doing that. But this is really, really useful for you to be thinking These are kind of the fun things we want to think about. We don't want to sit there worrying about exams and the stress and the things we can't control. Start having a proactive approach to what can I take ownership of, what makes me different, and what's going to kind of sell my skills and the person I am to an employer or a university. So these are the kind of questions we should be kind of mulling over in our mind, not the worry of there's an exam at the end and we don't know what date yet. Don't worry about all that stuff. Let's be proactive and look at what we can do with this time. Gaining new skills that employers want, obviously, developing yourself as a person is what the ultimate goal is through school, but beyond there as well. So what I'm going to do, because I've kind of flown through that, I am going to show you some kind of key bits to do with SnapRevise, how our platform works, because as you're fully aware, the online culture for learning is really changing, and it's becoming more and more prevalent in universities, in schools. And I think schools were really kind of thrown into this situation this year that they weren't perhaps prepared for. And the difference is, obviously, at SnapRevise, this is the niche that we work in. This is what we do. And a platform that is built around online learning, that's bang up to date, that works on the exams specifically and what they're looking for, and is very tailored, is something I want to share with you. So I'm going to do that now, and I'm going to hopefully share the correct screen so you can see how this works. So I think that might have just gone back to me. So hello if it has. And I'm going to share the correct screen now, hopefully. Cool. So I'm going to show you the site, what we have to offer, the resources we've got there. And any questions, feel free to ask in the chat as well. So let me just share this so you can see what I'm talking about. Right, hopefully we can see this. So here I am signed into SnapRevise, which is one of the online platforms that is really targeted to the new courses, the new A-levels and so on. And once you go onto SnapRevise, obviously there's different packages and things we can look at. You can go onto your courses, and I'm going to take, for example, the maths course. And there's loads on here that really brings to life in an engaging and fun and easily manageable way for all these courses. We've got live sessions, we've got drop-ins, web classes happening twice a week for all the different subjects, and also diagnostic quizzes and things that really allow you to hone in and focus your revision on where you struggle. So, for example, the whole course is broken down into the topics. I'm going to show you maths because obviously I'm comfortable with that as it's my subject and kind of know how it works. So year 12, year 13, mock papers and loads of resources on here. If you pick, for example, examples on proofs, you can run through a quick diagnostic quiz. I'm guessing, obviously, quickly running through, and you're going to click your answers and see if it's right or wrong. I'm not doing very well here as I'm rushing. But you can run through, and this quiz will take into account how you've got on. And at the end of it, will create kind of a synopsis of what you've struggled with and allow you to jump to points in a video that are really going to help you understand where your gaps in your knowledge are. So, for example, it might be that you realize, okay, there's this very specific part of proof I don't understand, and I don't even know how to explain what I'm struggling with. And these quizzes and tasks are designed to really pinpoint the skills you're struggling with, as well as providing, the specification and the points that the examiners are looking for, as well as giving you questions and examples to help you. On top of this, obviously, as I've said, we've got loads of resources online. We've got an exam pack. And the great thing is with all of these questions, there's a huge abundance of resources at different levels, at different difficulties, but also with really clear solutions that show you how the marks are broken down, the notation, all really clearly and beautifully presented to make this snappy, manageable and bite-sized for any topic on your syllabus. And then obviously we've got the revision guides, which are just really clear notes that bring to life the key points. So I've clearly chosen kind of a fairly tricky looking one here, but a full-on interactive summary, synopsis, and platform that allows you to practice all the things you're struggling with in your subject. And then there's the videos, as I said. Other things we've got going on though. So if I go back to my subjects, so we've got the subjects there. I'm just going to go back to what we're offering generally. So not just the revision materials, the past papers, and the diagnostic quizzes, but also live web classes that you can interact with that run sort of alongside what you'll be doing in school for year 12 and 13. And then after those web classes, there's drop-in sessions that you can access that will allow you to ask, for example, myself or one of the other SnapRevise tutors, any questions on the topics you're struggling with. So if it's a homework question, you've got a mock exam coming up, we have scheduled drop-in sessions, as you can see, where you can ask the tutor any advice. Can you go through this problem with me? And send in the questions you have so that it's specifically tailored to support you. So that's 4 hours a week worth, 2 hours of web classes, 2 hours of drop-ins of really carefully thought out and useful A-level support that is directed at exactly what you're looking at. I'm just going to look at the questions in the chat that are coming in. But as I said, yeah, this applies to the sciences, to the other subjects, but I'm talking specifically here from a maths point of view. So I'll be running classes, for example, tomorrow. I've got a web class for year 12 followed by a drop-in, and students can attend that and ask me any questions they want on the mechanics, the statistics, the pure maths, anything they're struggling with at school. And I'll go through examples and answer the question for them and perhaps highlight issues with that question or mistakes they've made. So hopefully that's handy and something to think about. So there's worth exploring and worth having a look. And as I said, this is a platform that is specifically tailored to online learning and something that's now prevalent in society and is going to be increasingly the way things are done. So universities are now examining online and teaching online, and kind of getting ahead of that and, you know, being prepared to learn in this way is something that students, your generation younger, are becoming really good at. So this is worth taking on board, and I'm going to just return now to the PowerPoint because I think there's a final little bit I want to talk about. But as I said, feel free to send any questions in still. I am trying to keep an eye on those coming in the chat as well. So let's return to the PowerPoint. Hopefully we can all see this. Excellent. I'm kind of keeping an eye on different screens here, guys, but that's great. So we've walked through the platform. I think it's really easy to use from your phone, easy to access the material, and yet just a great resource in general for having some direct one-to-one support, but also having really clear revision materials that can inspire you to create your own and study in a really manageable way. And I think that's what we're going for a lot of the time. So upcoming web classes, we're going to have these sessions on Sunday. So normally they'll be topic specific. Today was obviously a bit of a welcome and an explanation of what we've got coming up. We're going to have physics, maths, chemistry, biology, so on, over the different Sundays coming up over the next few weeks, months, and so on. So if you enjoy this or you think, right, that's really going to help me, I'm struggling with that topic, set reminders and attend these classes, because these are going to be on YouTube like today, where we'll be working through past paper questions and we'll be looking at some of the challenging aspects of your course. And so we've picked topics that are really useful for this point in the academic year, and also key things that people struggle with. So hopefully that's something that's going to interest you and be useful coming up. All topic specific, all relevant for your A-level studies, which is brilliant. And here we go. So what I'm offering here now is a code that's going to expire at midnight tonight. And this will give you full access to SnapRevise Basic or Pro for 14 days. So if you'd like to check out what's available and the platform, there's your kind of free access for 14 days there if you use that code. That would be brilliant. It would be lovely to hear from some of you and obviously interact and engage with you in the lessons if that's something you're looking to do, but also make use of our resources that we've got online and on the platform. Thanks very much, guys, for all the comments and all the messages in the chat. Obviously, this is a unprecedented time in terms of the way the academic year was changed last year. But I think moving forward, we're hoping it's going to kind of converge back to a normal scenario with exams being at the end and pushing through the content. And we're here to support you in whatever way possible. And hopefully you've enjoyed this session. But as I said, the ones that will be coming up over the next few weeks will be very topic and course specific to your different A-level subjects. And I think that will hopefully be really helpful for you. Thanks again to everyone that's commented and taken part. It's lovely to see so many people engaging and hear. And hopefully I've managed to answer some of those questions. In general, for sciences as well, all of these subjects that, you know, anything that has a practical element, do speak to your teachers and your tutors, because in terms of the practical aspects, you might need some intervention as to what it is you need to go away and work on. In terms of resources, there's no shortage of resources. It's how you use them, and using a good mix and a good variety of the things that are out there is crucial. So I'm going to stop sharing that there and say thank you again to everyone that's joined. Good luck with this academic year and with this first half term. I hope it's all going okay. And as I said, we're here to support and help with videos and also the platform online. So hopefully if that coupon code is something you're interested in, you can use that for a couple of weeks and try it out. But as I said, I really do encourage everyone to try different resources, try different websites, try different approaches to your study, because it is a changing time and it is an important time to really find the best ways and methods that work for you. Excellent. Yeah, exactly. Some brilliant comments coming in, kind of exactly summarizing what I'm saying, which is brilliant. And you all have your own techniques and ways that work for you. And it is great to hear what other people are doing as well. So that's brilliant. Right, excellent. Thanks very much, guys. And keep well, have a good week, and hopefully see you at some of these sessions again soon. Thanks.